During the summer and fall, it's easy to enjoy great, locally grown products in Columbia County. But during the winter, being a locavore becomes a challenge. But help is here. Thanks to a new geothermal greenhouse, the berry farm in Chatham is now able to provide fresh, local products throughout the year, even in the dead of winter. ccSCOOP visited the berry farm recently with Kirsten Koop, Joseph Briggs, and Melissa Pollock of the Local and Green Group to speak with owner Joseph Gilbert about his new greenhouse and how he is using green technology to provide locally grown produce throughout the year.
Welcome to my greenhouse. This was just a way to try to continue to grow things through the winter. But so now to try to figure another way to do that, how do you bring people in? Grow stuff, something that they want. So the greens was the next, and you know, everybody wants greens. We don't need the heat, and how this just got born. We put this greenhouse, it's about 3.5 foot in the ground, to collect the heat. There's always a natural geothermic heat coming out of the ground, 50 degrees. You go outside now underneath the snow, you dig down 3 foot. If it's not frosted, which it won't because it's been snow on it all year, it's 50 degrees underneath the ground there. It's always coming up. When we put this up, I wanted to make it a structure we would use 12 months of the year, not 3 months of the year to grow bedding plants and then be empty. And we're 3.5 foot in the ground, 4 foot of pipe further in the ground, 2-inch pipe from where we're standing. And then there's 2-inch foam on the outside pushing in, and that keeps it fairly warm in here. And I think the soil temperature in here, there's a little thermometer, we'll go look at it, it's probably around 50 degrees in the soil temperature.
And it's how cold outside right now?
It's about 19. Well, it was 19 a little earlier, but so. And right now it's a cloudy day, and it's about 60 in here now. If it was just a little bit more sun, we'd be up in the 90s with no problem.
This is arugula?
That's arugula.
Okay.
We had turnips over there. We did little white turnips.
Yeah.
Because they like to cool. And we've got radishes. We haven't done them yet. We're going to try some more of those. More beet greens. And I think we have kale and chard. We just started. In about 30 days, this will be up about 3-4 inches, and we'll start cutting that more like a mesclun.
Right. Okay.
Like we just sheared the arugula down all the way over here.
And how many cuttings can you get out of that method of shearing?
That way, possibly 3, maybe 4. It depends on how fast it grows. And these beds are just pure. This is Chatham leaves. That's all this is. The Chatham road crew dumps all its leaves here every year. We let them rot for a year or 2, and then we move them around.
One of the questions I actually have for you is how we can make the organically grown fresh vegetables affordable for everyone.
We're used to cheap food, first of all, and you're comparing the expense of what seems like an expensive organic product to the commercially produced, which is very cheap if you compare it, especially to Europe. Our food costs are much lower. Now, I agree, I would love to make everything cheaper for the masses, because I sometimes have that same question, that same question that you have, going, how do I do it? The thing is, in some ways, I want it cheaper to get more people in, but I also want to keep it somewhat higher because I think it's artificially low. A lot of food is artificially cheap in this country. So it's an education system on both. Consumers really need to pay a little bit more for their product, a good product. Most of the guys here locally, I think their prices are fair. I think we have to compete what the market is too. Some stuff I believe is a little high, and I'm trying to keep it lower. Now I know I could sell our lettuces and stuff in the store a lot more expensive than they are. We're selling at the same price we're selling our outdoor lettuce. Exactly the same price. So I came here. I love it here. I wouldn't go back. I spent a few years going back to North Jersey or Manhattan doing the green markets. Had to decide back then, what to do. It was hard doing both. And for the most part, if you go back to 1970s, early 80s, Columbia County was full of farm stands that were dying. I mean, there's only a third of the amount of farm stands that used to be here. Most of the product was being shipped to New York. A lot of stuff that we see growing today was being grown back then, but everything was shipped. And I just decided to stay and give it a whirl selling it here.